I had spent most of my adult life reducing uncertainty. That was how I built my wealth, not by taking risks, but by eliminating variables. I structured companies the same way I structured my personal life: predictable cash flow, documented obligations, clear exits. At 61, I had no illusions left about chaos. Chaos is not random, it is simply unaccounted for. That night began like every other. Dinner alone, receipts sorted, a review of 3 pending transfers flagged earlier that week by compliance. The phone was face down on the table where it always rested. I keep it that way deliberately. Screens invite distraction, silence encourages clarity. At 11:47 p.m., the vibration began. It was not abrupt, not aggressive. It pulsed with restraint, a vibration calibrated not to alarm, but to insist. Unknown number. No country code, no corporate prefix, just digits without identity. I let it stop. It resumed again 30 seconds later. Phones do not behave this way by accident. Someone had chosen persistence. I answered without speaking because I had learned long ago that information flows more freely when the other party is unsure whether they are being heard. The line opened into silence. Not static, not dead air, silence engineered to remove all context. Then a clicking sound followed, mechanical, evenly spaced, like a relay switching states, a system acknowledging connection. When the voice finally emerged, it did not sound hurried or threatening. It sounded certain. Distorted, yes, but controlled. It stated calmly that I was not supposed to answer. The call ended immediately. No farewell, no explanation. I did not react emotionally. Emotion obscures patterns. I checked the call log. There was nothing there. No missed call, no answered call, no trace. That was the first moment something fundamental shifted. Telecommunications infrastructure does not forget. Billing systems remember everything. When nothing is recorded, it means the interaction occurred outside recognized pathways. At 12:31 a.m., the phone vibrated again. I declined it instantly. Seconds later, a voicemail notification appeared. No audio file, only a string of numbers. Coordinates. When entered into a mapping service, they resolved precisely to my front door, not approximate, exact. Beneath the coordinates was a sentence stating that I had already been seen. I did not call the police. There was nothing to report, no crime, no identifiable sender. Instead, I documented screenshots, timestamps, battery levels. I slept poorly, not because I was afraid, but because my mind was reorganizing the hierarchy of threats. In the morning, the phone battery was at 0% despite being fully charged the night before. The voicemail had disappeared. In its place, there was something more disturbing, an outgoing call, timestamped 1 minute before the first incoming call, dialed to the same unknown number. My phone had initiated contact. I had no memory of doing so. Memory is negotiable. Logs are not. I exported the data, verified it twice. That was when I stopped treating the phone as property. From that point forward, it became evidence. Once the phone became evidence, my behavior adjusted accordingly. I stopped carrying it casually. I logged its position. I documented battery cycles. I noted signal fluctuations and timestamps down to the second. This was not paranoia. This was due diligence. I contacted my mobile carrier using a secondary line. Their response was precise and useless. No record of inbound or outbound calls during the relevant window. No voicemail packets. No roaming pings. The device, according to their systems, had been inactive. I escalated the inquiry. Technical support, network operations. Each layer produced the same result: absence. I contacted the manufacturer directly through a corporate channel I had access to from a previous acquisition. Diagnostics showed no malware, no unauthorized firmware, no active background processes. The phone was clean. That conclusion disturbed me more than any positive finding could have. Clean systems do not behave this way. 3 nights passed without incident. I allowed myself to assume anomaly. On the 4th night, at exactly 11:47 p.m., the phone illuminated without vibrating. An incoming call interface appeared. No ringtone, no vibration, just a call already in progress. The timer began counting upward. 0 seconds, 10, 30. I attempted to end the call. The interface did not respond. There was no audio, no breath, no interference. Silence again. At 3 minutes and 40 seconds, the screen changed. The call interface disappeared. A photograph filled the display. The image showed my hallway. The angle was unmistakable. The lighting matched the evening. The framing suggested eye level. The timestamp embedded in the metadata was dated 3 days into the future. I extracted the file immediately. Hash values matched across exports. No manipulation, no compression artifacts. The image was authentic. That was the moment I abandoned the assumption of external intrusion. This was not someone accessing my phone. This was something using it. The voicemails that followed no longer attempted subtlety. They referenced transactional details, exact figures from closed accounts, conversations held in person without devices present. One message cited the serial number of a safety deposit box I had not opened in over a decade. Another quoted a clause from my will verbatim, including punctuation. This was not data scraping. It was familiarity. Then came the final voicemail of that sequence. Clear, undistorted. My own voice. Calm, controlled. It stated that if I was hearing the message, I should not answer the call. The phrasing was deliberate, conditional. If you are hearing this, meaning there existed a version of events where I would not. I replayed the message repeatedly. Voice analysis confirmed it was mine. Cadence, micropauses, stress patterns, authentic. That realization did not frighten me. Fear implies uncertainty. This was clarity. At some point in the future, I had participated willingly. I had spoken, I had recorded that message, and I had failed to follow my own instruction. I did not involve law enforcement because there was no jurisdiction for what was occurring and no statute designed to address consent given retroactively by oneself. Instead, I did what I had always done when risk exceeded tolerance. I structured an exit. Assets were consolidated, trusts amended, powers of attorney reassigned with narrowly defined scopes. I reduced my digital footprint methodically, closed dormant accounts, liquidated discretionary holdings. I prepared my own absence the same way I prepared companies for acquisition. Clean books, clear ownership, minimal exposure. The phone remained powered off but intact. Evidence must remain unaltered until relevance expires. For weeks, nothing happened. No calls, no messages. Silence returned, but it no longer represented control. It represented latency. During a consulting engagement for a regional telecommunications firm, I reviewed anomalous network traffic flagged during a routine audit, outbound call attempts originating from decommissioned devices, phones officially retired, numbers unassigned. Yet the packets were valid. The timestamps were consistent, always 1 minute before an inbound call attempt, always routed toward the same endpoint. No voice payloads, no data transfer. Only handshake confirmations, a system checking compliance, verifying readiness. I requested additional logs. The request was denied due to scope. I did not press. Curiosity has cost many people far more than it has ever earned them. That night, I reviewed my own records one final time. The outgoing call from my phone, 1 minute before the first incoming call. I understood then that the sequence was not an anomaly. It was a protocol. I had answered a call that was never meant to be answered because the system required confirmation that I was still reachable. Destroying the phone had not stopped the process. It had only removed my visibility into it. Somewhere else, another device would fulfill the same function. Somewhere else, another person would provide the necessary acknowledgement. I finalized my documents, executed the last amendments, declined future contracts, reduced myself to a legal entity with no outstanding obligations. When the time comes, there will be no confusion, no dispute, no investigation that leads anywhere useful. The system does not punish, it does not threaten, it waits. And somewhere in another quiet room, a phone vibrates softly on a bedside table. Unknown number, no country code, no context. The screen glows patiently, waiting for someone else to answer the call that was never meant to be answered.